Hello everyone, this is Buddha Zen Wisdom, and we are here to accompany you every day. Life can be overwhelming, challenging, and sometimes filled with both joy and sorrow, but through it all, we hope to provide a sense of peace, comfort, and wisdom. Today, we explore an increasingly common and poignant topic that touches the lives of many parents as they grow older, especially in this fast-paced, modern world. It is a topic that may seem uncomfortable but is vital to reflect upon, the evolution of filial piety and the quiet loneliness that can accompany it. This quiet loneliness is often linked to the success of our children and the distance it can create between us as we age. Many parents, blissfully unaware of the growing emotional gap, proudly boast about their children's accomplishments to others. My son is a doctor, or my daughter has a high-paying job in another country. These statements, filled with pride and joy, are often met with admiration from others. But behind these smiles and accolades lies a deep, unspoken truth. The more successful the children become, the more isolated the parents may feel in their later years. This modern shift in family dynamics, driven by the rapidly changing world, forces us to reconsider how we see family ties, expectations, and the concept of filial piety. We are no longer in an era where children grow up, get married, and remain in the same town as their parents, helping with the family business or living nearby. In fact, the definition of filial piety, once about physical proximity and dutiful care, is evolving into something much more complex. The saying, while parents are alive, do not travel far, if you must, ensure a proper arrangement, has never felt more relevant. But how many of us can truly adhere to this in today's world? The idea that children should remain physically close to their parents as they age may seem out of touch when we think about modern aspirations. Children are increasingly pursuing dreams and careers that take them farther from home, leading to both success and, for some parents, a quiet, painful emptiness. Let's delve into this deeply emotional subject and explore how we can navigate the tension between our desires for our children's success and the feelings of abandonment that may arise as they pursue their own paths. 1. The more successful the children, the more unfortunate the parents' later years. A video I watched online left a lasting impression on me. In the video, a journalist visits an elderly couple in their 90s who have spent their lives raising two incredibly successful daughters. The daughters, both sent to prestigious overseas institutions, were the pride of their parents. After years of hard work, the couple was able to send their daughters abroad for higher education. They believed this sacrifice would pay off in a future where their children would give back and care for them in their later years. However, life had other plans. The eldest daughter returned to visit them briefly due to health issues, but she passed away soon after her return. The younger daughter, who had built a career and life overseas, stayed far away. She got married, started a family, and was so focused on her own life that visits home became sparse and infrequent. Now, in their twilight years, the elderly couple is left alone in a nursing home, their health declining and their hearts heavy with regret. When asked by the interviewer if they would make the same decision to send their daughters abroad again, the elderly man responded quietly, "Perhaps not. Having them stay close would have been nice too." This heartbreaking admission highlights the isolation that many older parents feel once their children are no longer physically close by. While parents may feel immense pride in their children's success, there is an unspoken cost to that pride: loneliness. Parents devote everything to raising their children, often sacrificing their own well-being for the betterment of their kids. We pour our hearts, resources, and energy into ensuring they succeed. We believe that a child's success is the greatest form of validation and reward for our years of hard work and sacrifice. But what happens when their success leads them farther and farther away, physically, emotionally, and sometimes even spiritually? This distance, created by careers, ambitions, and dreams, becomes an invisible wall between the parent and the child. Take, for instance, Mrs. Johnson, a 65-year-old woman who has spent the last 5 years caring for her bedridden husband in Ohio. One night, her husband unexpectedly fell out of bed. Despite trying for over 20 minutes, she could not lift him back up. Panicked and exhausted, she scrolled through her contact list, over 100 names, yet there was no one she could call for help. Her friends were asleep, and her only daughter, who lives in New York, was too far away to assist. Mrs. Johnson, always self-reliant and independent, found herself in a moment of desperation. She had to go downstairs and ask 2 security guards for help. Only after she repeatedly assured them of her responsibility did they agree to help. But in that moment, the tears she shed were not just from the physical exertion, they were the tears of a woman who realized just how isolated she had become in her later years. The realization that she could no longer rely on her child for help, even in an emergency, was heartbreaking. 2. The empty nest dilemma has arrived. The concept of the empty nest is becoming more prevalent. In the past, families often had several children, and by the time all of them had left the house, parents were already in their 60s, fully accustomed to their children's absence. In those days, the empty nest could still bring some solace. Parents would have the peace and space they craved. However, in today's world, many families only have 1 or 2 children. Children now leave home at an early age, 18, for college, work, or other opportunities. Parents in their early 40s may already be experiencing the empty nest syndrome. When children leave home at such an early stage in life, the feeling of abandonment can be profound. The rapid departure of children can make parents feel unneeded or even forgotten. This is the dilemma facing modern parents. One heartbreaking story that recently went viral involves Mr. and Mrs. Thompson from Texas. Mrs. Thompson, 76, suddenly experienced severe dizziness late one night. Her 82-year-old husband, struggling with his own mobility issues, was the one who had to rush her to the hospital. When asked why they did not contact their children, their answer was devastating. "Our 3 daughters live across the country. We don't want to worry them unless it's absolutely necessary." This situation is all too common. The children may be successful, leading lives of their own in faraway places, yet they are not around when their parents need them most. This isn't because the children don't care, it's because the demands of modern life have made it more difficult for them to be there physically. Despite their success, many children live with the burden of guilt because they are not physically close to provide care when their parents face health crises. 3. Life is a personal journey for everyone. It is important to note, however, that not all successful children forget their parents. Some do choose to bring their aging parents to live with them, providing the care and support they need in their later years. Yet, not every child who stays nearby is necessarily supportive. A powerful example of these struggles can be seen in the hit drama This Is Us. In the show, Randall, the eldest son, is incredibly successful and moves away to pursue his ambitions. On the other hand, Kevin, the youngest, stays behind and takes on the responsibility of caring for their aging mother. This dynamic highlights the complexities that exist within families. Success does not always equate to being available or present for the emotional and physical needs of aging parents. What we must recognize is that children are not simply extensions of their parents' hopes and dreams. They are independent individuals, each with their own path to follow. While parents may hope that their children excel academically, find stable jobs, and live near them in their later years to offer support, the reality is that children's paths often do not align with these expectations. They may be driven by their own passions, relationships, and goals that take them far away. At the heart of it, parents must understand that their children's greatest gift to them is not just material success or physical proximity, but also love, gratitude, and thoughtfulness. The greatest way a child can show love is through appreciation, and this can take many forms, be it through thoughtful gestures, regular communication, or finding ways to show love despite physical distance. Instead of focusing on the distance, whether physical or emotional, parents can find fulfillment in their own lives. Engaging in hobbies, nurturing friendships, and taking care of their own well-being can help mitigate the feelings of loneliness that sometimes arise when children are not around. Conclusion. As we continue to witness societal changes, it is vital that parental expectations evolve with the times. While it is natural to hope for children who are both successful and present, we must learn to balance these desires with the realities of the modern world. If your children are thriving, teach them to show gratitude and love from afar. If they are nearby, cherish their presence without burdening them with too many expectations. Ultimately, life is about personal journeys, and each generation must find its own way forward. What matters most is mutual understanding, respect, and a deep sense of connection, regardless of how far apart we may be physically. Thank you for being with us today. Take the time to reflect on these thoughts, stay mindful, and always cherish the present moment.